Hey everyone, it's Corey, and today we're taking a look at two very unique and fun lenses, and that is the Brightin Star 12mm f2 and the Brightin Star 35mm f.95. And like in all my product review videos, Brightin Star did send these out to me, but I haven't been paid or told what to say. They haven't seen this video before it goes live. So everything that you're going to hear today is real talk. It's my thoughts and opinions after testing these lenses for the last couple months. And yeah, they've been very fun, very interesting to use. And I'd never heard of Brightin Star until they reached out to me to do these lens reviews. And honestly, it's like they wanted me to review the 12mm, which I was really interested because I haven't really done any really wide angle lenses, and it's like, oh, that could be fun. I also inquired about the 35mm because I saw that the aperture was so fast, and they were very happy and excited to send that out to me too. So this is kind of like a double combo review, if you will. So thank you, Brightin Star, for sending those out to me. I think that's how I say your name, Brightin Star. When I was doing one of these takes, I was like, Bryn Star, and I was like, nope, that's my Metroid fan coming out. Let's talk about the build quality of these lenses. When I opened them out of the packaging and I felt them, I was like, man, these feel solid. Particularly like this 35mm, it's a dense one, very beefy. But this 12mm is no slouch either. It feels very good in the hand. The focus ring feels very smooth to use. I enjoy that. The aperture, it's almost declicked, but there's a little bit of clicks in there, and so it's very nice. It's just enough to let you know like I'm moving to a different aperture, but it's really smooth even when you're doing video to do like focus pulls, and if you're just wanting to adjust your aperture like while you're shooting, it feels really good. Same with the 35mm. That focus throw feels real good. The aperture is clicked but not too much, so very, very satisfying. Give you a little bit of some aperture ASMR a little bit now. All this is to say, these are very well built lenses. So let's talk about image quality. That's a big thing when you come to a lens review, when you're looking at different lenses. You want to know, how do these lenses perform? And I'm going to have some video and some stills going throughout this whole review, but honestly, these lenses really surprised me. They give you very good quality for the price point. And, I'll come to price a little bit later, but honestly, I was really pleased with the results I was getting from these lenses. The corners are not tack sharp, but that's what you would expect from lenses like these. The 12mm, I feel like when you stop it down to about f4, f5.6, you start getting the sharpness all across the lens, which for a lens like this, for an ultra wide like this, you're never going to shoot at f2. I mean, like, that's cool that the lens can shoot at f2 and you can get some kind of cool, interesting shots, like especially if you get subjects kind of closer to the minimum focusing distance. But for a lens like this, you're shooting landscapes, you're shooting wider scenes, rooms, outside environments, and so stopping it down to f5.6, f8, that is totally normal, and that's where you're going to see the best performance from this lens. And for the 35mm, because it's got this crazy shallow depth of field, like at f0.95, honestly, when you stop this lens down to like f2, f2.8, it cleans up fairly well in terms of sharpness, but you still retain a lot of the compression, and you can still get some really nice bokeh with it. If you want to get that really shallow depth of field effect and you're shooting at f0.95 or, f1.4, your subject is going to be in focus, but as you'd expect with a cheaper lens like this, there is pretty drastic fall off on the corners around that, but for a certain type of effect that you're going for, this works really well. So image quality is very good, in my opinion, for the price point that you're paying for these lenses. So these lenses are priced very well for the quality of what you're getting with them. Brightin Star on their own website will have a lot of sales. You can also buy these through Amazon and places. The 35mm usually goes for around $200-ish. On their website currently, they're having a sale, and you can pick it up for $189. The 12mm usually goes from the ballpark of about like $150 to $300. They're having a sale right now where you can pick it up for $150, but usually it's in that price range of about $200 to $300, and that's what you would expect from an ultra wide. And so price wise, if you can grab these lenses on sale, I think it's a really good deal for the quality and all the cool uniqueness of these lenses that you are getting with them. Both of these lenses are APS-C lenses, so you can use them with like Sony's APS-C line, Nikon, Fujifilm. I have a set on the Canon M mount system. So Brightin Star gives you a lot of options for whatever lens mount that you're shooting with, which I think is pretty sweet. So why are these lenses so unique, and why do I think that they're really fun? So let's starting with the 12mm. This is an ultra wide lens. When you do the math, like crop factor with APS-C cameras, you're getting close to about 18 to 20 millimeter like full frame equivalent. And these are ultra wide lenses that basically skirt the corners of not being crazy like fisheye. And so because of that, you can get some really cool like wide shots, landscapes, interiors. But because the lens doesn't distort and you don't get this crazy fisheye effect, you can still get subjects fairly close to the lens and get some interesting, unique looks with this lens, and that can definitely do some cool things for your photography and your videography. So I really enjoy that. I'm not generally a landscape photographer. I'm not shooting wide scenes like that. You know, when I think wide, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe we'll do like a 24, you know, and I don't really go wider than that. So having a lens that is really this huge ultra wide, when I would go out and shoot with it, you know, a lot of like if I go to the park or I'm going like someplace and I'm shooting with this lens, it was a really interesting challenge for me to think through having this wide focal distance and thinking like, how can I make my photos interesting with it? So moving over to the 35mm, again, it's got that f0.95 aperture, so you can open it super wide. And this lens is really fun and unique because basically you get a 35mm, which for APS-C cameras, you're getting closer to more of like in the 40-ish full frame equivalent. But because it has such a fast aperture, shooting at night, shooting in low light situations has been really fun with this lens. You know, me, like a lot of other people, when I started my filmmaking journey in photography, I really liked the shallow depth of field and I thought it was cool and I thought it was like, oh, that's what makes it look professional. But as I've grown more as a videographer, a filmmaker, a photographer, I've come to honestly lean more away from shallow depth of field. So getting a lens where it's like this was the main interest, the focal point of this lens, it was an interesting and fun challenge to shoot with this lens and try to shoot at some of the faster apertures because I had the range to go to f0.95 or I could shoot at f1.4, and it, you know, like that's just a thing I don't normally get to do. So it was really fun in that way. And like the 12mm, because of this unique feature of being able to shoot with this really fast aperture, it allows you to get some really cool photos, mostly in low light, but sometimes doing some other things where you can really isolate your subject. So those are my thoughts on this combo of Brightin Star lenses. I think they are very fun. They're very unique, interesting lenses. And if you're somebody who is interested in wanting to try out a wide angle lens like the 12mm, I think this is probably one of the best ones that you can pick up at a great price, especially if you can catch one of the sales that I mentioned. Or if you're looking for a lens that can really give you a lot of subject separation, you could almost even use this as like a pseudo portrait lens. Maybe do a little bit of like macro photography, like faux macro photography with this lens. Or if you want to just shoot in a lot of like low light situations and you want shallow depth of field, I think picking up this 35mm is a no-brainer just because the aperture is so fast and you can get some really cool results with it. So again, thank you Brightin Star for sending out these lenses for me to take a look at and to review. I genuinely have enjoyed using them. These will probably be my new go-to like modern vintage style manual lenses because the quality that you get for them for the price is really good and the build quality is astounding. So I can't argue with that. You know, I wasn't looking for new modern vintage style manual lenses, but you know, they found me. So thank you, Brightin Star. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Reel Filmmaking for more stuff coming about cameras, gear, magic lantern, filmmaking, all that goodness. And until next time, keep making movies and watching movies, and I'll see you on Reel Filmmaking.